according to the UN, 15% of your population is persons with disabilities.
There was a time I felt that I am the only wheelchair-bound girl in entire Karachi. Internationally, I can sue the owner and ask for basic right.
Right.
But here, when I ask के ramp है यहाँ पे, okay, वो क्या होता है? I don't like people carrying me. Even if 4 people come around me and say that आपको हम उठा लेंगे, आप क्यों फिक्र कर रही हैं? But why? Because being on a wheelchair and studying in normal school is not easy.
So today we have, and I know I say this in every episode, but honestly, today is a very special episode because I've got some friends here from well, I've let them do the intros themselves because I love doing that. But I have some friends here who are here to talk about something that is very dear to all of us, very dear to. It should be dear to you as well. And also, I hope that from this episode, you get to learn a lot. Because I've just, in the little bit of a conversation that I've had with them, I've learned a lot. So we've got Farhat here, who is, I'm going to let you introduce yourself because I know I'm going to botch it up.
Hi, Lam. Thank you so much for inviting. It's an honor being here. I'm a wheelchair-bound girl by birth, but however, my disabilities have never stopped me from anything doing. And I really thank God for whatever I have rather than crying on what I don't. So the journey till here wasn't easy, but alhamdulillah, I've done my master's. I have done job at Unilever Pakistan Limited, and today...
Master's in Marketing and Finance.
Yes.
Which is, I mean...
and I was a gold medalist.
Oh my God, of course, amazing.
So then I did job at Unilever Pakistan Limited, which was a dream come true because for me, the options are very limited in terms of wheelchair access. But fortunately, they saw my abilities and they hired me on merit. So it was an achievement after all the struggles I had during my school life. And then today I'm running my own rice business. So I export rice globally.
Amazing.
So, and apart from my professional life, I do a lot of social work.
Right.
And I want to be the voice for physically challenged people in Pakistan. Whatever obstacles I faced, I really don't want the other kids to face that.
Right.
I am a board member for NOWPDP, and I really appreciate the way they work also. They also work on inclusive society. And I feel that every person has unique abilities. So we need to highlight them. We need to give them a chance. We need to give opportunities for everyone to move on in life.
Absolutely, absolutely. And we're going to dive very deeply into everything that you're doing. Yeah. This was just like a little bit of a summary, which excellently done. But speaking of NOWPDP, and that's something that I recently, one of my friends called me up and she was like, I've been working with them on and off and there's this organization. And I was like, okay, tell me about it. And then she gave me again a little summary and whatnot. And then today I sat down with Madiha, who's also here with us, and learned a lot more about what you guys are actually doing. So please, can you tell me and everyone else out there?
Yes. Thank you so much, Ilham, for having me over. I am Madiha Qadeer. I head the external engagement at NOWPDP, which is the network of organizations working with persons with disabilities in Pakistan. We are a disability inclusion and empowerment initiative. We have been working in this space for 16 years now. And just to sum it up, because when we start talking about disability inclusion and everything that needs to be done and everything that we are doing, I think I'll just spend the whole time introducing us. So just to sum it up for everybody, there are 7 verticals that we work across. And we work across Pakistan to empower persons with disability, building ecosystems of inclusion for them. Yeah. All the way from, I'll just introduce the 7 pillars, as we call them, that we work across through Rehnumai, Shanakht, Taaleem, Hunar, Khud Mukhtari, Rozgar. All of these, we call them our pillars, but these are all verticals and these are all sort of stages of life also that we go through. And just to building inclusion into all of these verticals is something that now PDP works with for persons with disabilities. A lot of them don't even know their rights. A lot of them don't even know what to do, because a lot of us think that disability is something that you're just born with, but this
Yeah.
is something that can happen to anybody.
Absolutely.
Right? And according to the UN, 15% of your population is persons with disabilities. And we generally do not see them. In a crowd of 100 people, you won't be able to identify even 15 persons with disabilities in a
Right.
crowd or in our public spaces or schools or workplaces.
Right.
So that is what we're trying to do. We're trying to make Pakistan inclusive across the board
Right.
in
So-
all of these spheres.
One of the things, I mean, and we talked about this briefly earlier also, like something as simple as, my grandmother, yes, age is not on her side. She's a lot older now. We mention her a lot on this podcast. Thank God she doesn't watch. But like something as simple as the other day, I was taking her out for dinner, and we went to a bunch of places. Now she has mobility issues. Most of those places we couldn't go into, and it got me thinking, and I was just like, why is it that these are some of the considered the very posh areas of your country where you have all thepada likhas going there, and you can't even just blame it on ke education nahi hai. They haven't thought about ramps, they haven't thought about railings, they haven't thought about the most basic of things that a lot of people with disability would have. That would be the first thing they would call up and ask about, ki, is there enough there for me to easily get in and out? Something as simple as that. So what is it like, what is it that we can do to kind of, and the only way I see it is that nobody's thinking about it. So how is it that we can start making people think about it and normalize it and have that conversation, have enough of those conversations so that it becomes a part of their everyday lives?
Okay, just like Madiha mentioned, there was a time I felt that I am the only wheelchair-bound girl in entire Karachi. Because I used to move out and about, I was going to school everywhere, and I could not see anyone.
Right.
But when I went into special institute, I saw lots of kids inside, and the only obstacle was that how to come out. You cannot carry a child after a certain age. A mother can go up to any extent to get her child to schools for treatment, whatever, but after 10 to 12 years, it's very difficult for them to carry. So there's no transportation system over here. And again, all the sympathies, all the, pachari, ye sab cheezein are not accepted. Like, you should treat everyone very normally. So first step, I think, would be to accept your problem, to move on in life. Acceptance needs to be done by parents and a child himself. Once you accept the problem, then you either you face it in a smiling manner or you cry every day.
Right.
So it's better you smile and then move on.
Right.
So no sympathy is needed, just a bit of encouragement, motivation to move on. And I feel that in this case, public and private sector both plays a very important role. Private sector, I say, because whatever things they built in, they should have a heart to make it mandatory that whatever restaurants, parks, schools they make, they should have wheelchair access.
100%.
Not just wheelchair access, but of course, give admissions on merit. See the capability, do not see any disability.
Yeah.
Because I strongly believe that if Allah takes away one thing, He gives 2 extra benefits. You need to find that out.
Right.
And in that, the institute as well as the family matters a lot.
Right.
So private sector plays a very important role in terms of seeing their own vicinity. Public sector, again, should make it mandatory and they can work on the national level. If someone does not provide wheelchair access, or if someone does not give the basic human rights, then there has to be a penalty. I personally have studied laws also, US laws, UK laws, and even Pakistan laws. There is a law to provide a ramp, a proper parking place, and an elevator
In Pakistan?
public places, yes.
Really?
Like in KBCA laws, DHA laws, everywhere.
We always just assume that there is no law or nobody's even thought.
it's a
You know,
choice.
the fun thing is, what's not there is the penalty. So people bypass it.
Right. Okay.
Internationally, I can sue the owner and ask for my basic right.
Right.
But here, when I ask कि ramp है यहाँ पे, okay, वो क्या होता है? and I need to say lakdi ka takhta chadhai, kaise मैं जाऊँ, because I am an adult.
Right.
I don't like people carrying me. Even if 4 people come around me and say that आपको हम उठा लेंगे, आप क्यों फिक्र कर रही हैं? But why? It's my basic human right. I want to be independent.
Absolutely.
I don't like to make a scene out of myself. So, and plus it's a risk for me. Like, God forbid if my chair stumbles down, they would just apologize and I would go through the pains, right?
Right.
So I would rather not go to the place that is risky for me
100%.
than carry myself. So it's just a thought behind it. And unfortunately in Pakistan, unless you don't go through yourself, people don't take it seriously. So usme the role of us comes. Like, I also have a firm by the name of Show You Care.
It's next on my
Yeah.
list. I would love to know more about it.
This NOWPDP and other firms, we try to create a voice
Right.
that please give these basic human rights, make the society inclusive.
So, how did it start? Like, what was it that one day you woke up and that idea that sparked in your head, and you were like, you know what, I'm going to take matters into my own hands and I'm going to get everyone involved and I'm going to go and make my own little organization that's going to go out and shout it out from every place to make sure that people understand. So, how did this come about?
You must have heard about Young Leaders Conference. I attended that, and in that I got a project that what's lacking in Pakistan. There's a huge list of what's lacking in Pakistan. I don't want to comment about that over here.
Right.
But what I was facing from day one was accessibility issue.
Right.
I did have my own, less immunity power at one time, and my own limitations and physical limitations. But that's okay. Allah gave me the courage to move on. I had a good family system, and we kept on facing on an everyday basis. But the main issue I faced was the accessibility anywhere I went. So I thought that, if I have the means, I have a good family background, then I should be the voice for the physically challenged people. And I started the project Show You Care. That day was a project for just one presentation, but I took it for a lifelong project. So, because pehle, it's very funny कि initially my parents thought कि फरहत यहाँ जाएगी, यहाँ access नहीं होगा, emotional upset होके आ जाएगी. This is something in my teenage years or less than teen. Because, being on a wheelchair and studying in normal school is not easy. You see kids around you, playing, walking, going, so you tend to think that, why am I like this? But fortunately, I got really good friends and they never felt me different.
Right.
But maybe being a parent, they thought कि कोई फला जगह जाएगी तो यहाँ पे access नहीं होगा, सब बच्चे जा रहे होंगे तब set हो जाएगी. अब इनको पता है कि वो जाएगी तो लड़के आ जाएगी कि यहाँ पे रैम्प क्यों नहीं है. So it's vice versa. So yeah, like I started working long-term basis. So we did a lot of awareness programs. We convinced a lot of restaurants to make ramps. And initially I thought कि मुझे शायद in lower areas में यह समझाना पड़ेगा. But to my surprise, I had to educate the literacy circle as well.
This is the thing.
The literally posh areas as well. And which I was shocked that I need to educate the franchises. I need to educate the literary circles as well. So you guys are the one who travel globally.
Right.
You see wheelchair signs everywhere.
Absolutely.
You see priority everywhere. So why not here? You have the means to travel. If you're opening something over here, if you're opening a cinema or a school or a park or a university or a bank or a company, whatever,
Anything.
why can't you make it inclusive for all?
Absolutely. 100%. Something as simple as bathrooms also. A lot of people.
Washrooms are not there at all.
Yes, they don't exist
that's
in a
what
lot
I'm
of
saying.
places.
They don't even exist there.
And
That's what I'm
to
saying.
Farhat's point, the way that we view disability and as advocates for disability inclusion, the challenge that we face, it starts with the lack of empathy, of course, right? If it's not my lived experience, every human just looks at the human experience of everybody here. It's relative to our own, right? If we have it, we just assume that everybody has the same thing.
Right.
Which is not true. So that is where we need to build empathy into our culture and our mindsets and everything. Other than that, how we view disability is something that is with that person themselves. But if you look at the global definition now of disability, the lack of ability is not with the person but with the environment.
Absolutely.
Right? In a lot of cases, just to put it very simply, if I take away certain things, like if there is a tower and there is no entrance to it and there are no stairs and there is no way, and I ask you to
Climb up.
get in it, but there isn't even a window,
Yeah.
how are you going to get into
Absolutely.
it? Right? So the lack of ability is then with the resources and the environment and not with the person themselves. And that is what disability is. The disability is not with the person, it is with the environment, right? Which is why, to Farhat's point, if you can't see them in schools and workplaces and everywhere else, it is the lack of accessibility. And what we then advocate for is reasonable accommodation. These are not special changes. These are not, difficult
it's very
things that you need
basic.
to go through.
Exactly.
It is reasonable accommodation
Absolutely.
for someone to do the same job that everyone else can do.
Absolutely.
Right? So that, I think, is the message that we try to teach everybody and want
Yeah.
everybody to think about the next time,
So
right?
it's not like extra favor you're
Yes,
doing.
it is
It's-
reasonable
yeah.
accommodation.
Speaking of the tower that you're talking about, right? You need a key to get into that tower. The very basic thing for every human is their identity.
Absolutely.
Okay, and we were talking about earlier how something as basic as your identity card, the process is very different. And this is something that I didn't know. I didn't know that in order to get a special CNIC, there's a very long process and it's very different to anyone else getting that.
Yes.
Can you please also educate everyone? And I was like, what? So I'm sure everyone watching is also going to be like, are you serious?
Yes.
Because I mean, if I didn't know, and I'm supposed to know
Yes.
because I work for a media
So-
company, but I don't know a lot of things. But please tell them
So
about
that
it.
there is, yes, the biggest issue is a lack of awareness. But yes, if it takes us, say, 1 or 2 days to get our NIC made, for a person with disability to get their SCNIC, the process can be from anywhere between 10 to 12 weeks, if all goes well, that is, right? So there's a massive difference there. And then if you bring in, because there are multiple departments that they have to go through. First, there's going to be the health department where a doctor is going to verify that they have this disability, what level of disability. Then they have to get their disability certificate made. Then there are 3 other departments that are involved. And then eventually they'll have to go to NADRA and everything. Now, talking about a person with disabilities and everything that Farhat said, the first step in just getting out of the house and getting to one of these places is a challenge. There is such a
Right.
lack of accessibility.
Yeah.
How do you expect that person who is
Communicate.
marginalized
And
to
then
that
you're asking them
extent?
to go through all of these processes.
Yes.
I mean, I would put my hands up, and I'm sure most people put their hands up and they're just like, it's not worth it. I'll just stay home.
Yes.
I just won't go.
That's
And
the main
combine
issue.
that to the mindsets of everything. Like Farhat said, she was the only person in school in a wheelchair, right? Because the rest of the parents, and when we say 16% of your population, 15% of your population, that's a huge number.
It's a huge number.
Right? That also means that all of the children with disabilities, most of their parents don't want them out of the house. Right?
Because again, they probably
Because they think it's not worth it, because they think they cannot.
it's an inconvenience
Yes,
to them.
inconvenience
right?
to them, or there is so much shame attached to it, or there's so much stigma attached to it. It's still taboo to tell somebody that you have disability in the family. There's just so many conversations that
Yeah.
come out of it. But coming back to identity and why it's important in its core, when we talk about how we need to have all of these changes made in the private sector or in the public sector, that can only happen when we have numbers to show. When we know these people exist, when we can register that these people exist and this needs to happen.
It's something as simple as when you go to your boss or you go to anyone in the public sector, you will say, listen, we need to pass this law, or we need to get this approved. They're going to be like, prove it to me.
Yes.
Okay, show me the numbers.
Absolutely.
But if the numbers aren't registered, so it's like chicken and egg.
Absolutely.
The numbers aren't being registered because you're making the process so much harder. But apparently, you guys are making the process so much easier.
Yes. So now at NOWPDP for the past 16 years, like we said, We have been working on what we call one window SCNIC camps. And what we do there is, as we often phrase it, and it's we bring the mountain to Moses in a sense, where we, in our own facilities, we gather up all of these departments that are involved, including NADRA, including all of the others, and we shrink the process of months or weeks into one day.
That's amazing.
And so all of the persons with disabilities that come there on the day of the camp, they can get their SCNICs made in just one day at one place at a time.
That's amazing.
That's very convenient.
Yeah. Very, very convenient. And for all those listening, how can, so for example, I want to get involved and I want to help out and I want to volunteer for you and volunteer for you. How am I going to go about doing that for your organization and for, I mean, both of your organizations?
Basically, we do awareness programs. So the updates are on our page. My group name is Show You Care.
Right.
So you may search, you can see on the instant Facebook post.
It's going to be in the caption, so
Yes.
you guys can click on it, go learn all about it. So I'm volunteering right now.
Thank you very much. So when we do the awareness programs, we call all the higher officials as well, the building architects, lawyers, everyone, because these are main concerned people.
Right.
Who can help us make Pakistan wheelchair friendly. And I would say it's like an ongoing project. So we cannot give up. And we are there to
100%.
make Pakistan a positive change, like other countries as well.
100%.
Yeah.
Are there, like, can you give me any examples of, like, you know how, because you're doing such amazing work, people must come up to you and say, you know, you inspired me and now I'm also getting involved or I'm doing my own thing. And then this whole community kind of comes together. Because essentially both of you are providing a very, very important service to the community, not just opening people's minds, but also helping them. Giving them, placements or rehabilitation or just awareness. So it is essentially a service to the community. Are there people who've come up to you and said, you know, we're so inspired that we also want to start something, or we want to get involved as well?
You mean normal individuals?
Yeah.
Yeah. There are a lot of people who keeps on joining hands, and I appreciate that as well, because it's all voluntary service.
Right.
It's not something that you will be, earning something.
Right.
So yeah, a lot of people have joined, and like NOWPDP and us, like we have. If I talk about special children, so yeah, there are a lot of special children who are in mainstream now as well.
Excellent.
And the day I applied for a job, and today, like after 15 years down the road, I can see that few multinationals have also started hiring. And they're hiring at all levels, because initially, when I was there, they were searching for only MBs and CAs. So personally, I also did request few multinationals that please consider metric and inter as well, because just imagine, how can this child go to university if the university is not accessible? Or how can this child go from home to the campus if there is no transportation, in terms of no ramp in the buses or taxis? Because over here it's unfortunate that even the bus driver does not stop for 10 minutes for a special child to climb.
Absolutely.
So private cars are not there by everyone. So, going
Meanwhile, you
everywhere is
go
not that
abroad,
easy.
you see all of this happening.
Yeah. So the good thing is, and even I'm sure Madiha, they also work on this, that now they're hiring at all levels.
Yes.
So that's really good. At least you're busy, you're earning your own livelihood. You're also contributing to the economy of Pakistan. So, it's not about just shame. It's just about, there are a lot of parents who think that sometimes they're narrow-minded also, that why did we get this child? Okay, if I question that, who is perfect here? Nobody. There is some issue or the other, either financial, emotional, family issues. No individual is such who has no problem whatsoever.
Absolutely.
So it's a challenge by Allah, and He is the one who takes you out from it. So there should be no shame, firstly. Second issue comes the financial issues. Yes, people are financially suppressed. They can't just keep on fighting. They give up and they focus on the children who are normal individuals. But tomorrow, if a special child starts earning, that's the biggest blessing for them. As well, they start contributing for their family, for their own livelihood, plus they're busy in their own ways.
Right.
So that's really a good feeling, that your special child is also working like a other individual, And that's why we don't call them disabled, we call them differently abled.
Absolutely.
That they do everything in a very different, unique manner. A little encouragement, little motivation, and opportunities can make them do wonders.
And I really hope that the term differently abled becomes so normal that we forget that we ever use the word disabled. Because essentially, you're absolutely right. They are differently abled. And the kind of drive that I have seen when I have met anyone who is differently abled, they have so much ambition, they have so much life in them that I'm pretty sure that your organizations are there mostly because of the drive that these guys have. The drive that people who want to actually go out there and make a change and do things that will make it so much easier. Like, for example, you are doing these things to make it easier. You're talking about it to make it easier for everyone else who's coming after you. Right? So it's commendable that you guys are doing the all of this work and coming here and talking to me about it, and hopefully all of these other people are like listening and their minds are also opening up, because if nothing else, my mind is opened up. I'm so glad that these SCNICs, this whole process is happening.
Yes.
Because a lot of people don't realize that they get a lot of advantages out of it as
Yes,
well.
there are certain private sector and public sector benefits attached to the SCNIC as well.
Right.
And a lot of people don't know that, because again, where there is no awareness that SCNICs exist, let alone the benefits of them.
Right.
So yes, such benefits do also exist. And to Farhat's point, like, we are a very empowerment driven, sustainable change organization. And it's not just the loss is not just at that end of the spectrum. It is significant economic loss that happens when persons with disabilities don't get equal opportunities. They are not empowered economically and financially. And to your question, when we talk about empowerment, like, what happens through identity and what happens when they get opportunities, we have so many stories like this. But then, we had one of our trainees who was visually impaired, and then there was a lot of struggle to even just convince their family to let them come and get trained. And they got computer training, and then they got placed in a bank. And with their first salary, they came to donate a part of it back to NOWPDP. And, that is the cycle of empowerment.
Lovely.
Where once he was in a position to take is now where he's in a position to give.
Right.
And that, I think, is the most empowering position any human being can be in.
That's amazing.
And that is the journey or the ecosystem of inclusion that we're trying to create.
Well, I hope that you guys are paying attention. I hope that you guys are listening. And I really hope that you go and you look both of their amazing work up, and you kind of go out there and it's also word of mouth, right? If you're watching this, you go and tell 3 other people about it. They will tell 3 other people, and so on and so forth. And then hopefully everyone will not just talk about it, but also normalize it. I think that's what needs to happen. That's the difference between what's happening abroad and what's happening here. We take trips all the time. We were talking about it. And there are so many more opportunities that you face abroad than when you come back here. So I hope that the next time we have this conversation, things will be a little bit better, and you guys keep fighting the good fight, and you guys and we will always be here to help you shout it out to all of those out there.
Thank you so
listening.
much.
Thank you so much. Your contribution really helped also.
Yes,
The media plays a very
absolutely.
important
And
role.
for anyone who wants to reach out to the organization, we have a website, www.nowpdp.org.pk. And also we have a UAN number, so that is a lot more convenient. It's 111 NOWPDP. For anyone who has a disability or knows someone with disability that would need any kind of help or support, we can always reach out. And we also do have volunteers who can come and volunteer, not just for our SCNIC camps, but other things as well. So please do engage with the organization. Like Ilham already said, talking about it also counts.
Absolutely.
Tell a friend.
And please tell me where they can find Show You Care.
It's on Facebook and Instagram, so you can always search it and Show You Care. Click on that. We have email address and contact numbers over there as well. So we would love them to join. I would like to give a message in the end that do not think that you're less than anyone else. And everyone has their own unique abilities. It's just to believe in abilities, and faith in Allah, and things just move on in life.
Thank you
Beautiful.
so much.
Thank
No,
you.
I can't follow that up. I can't. Thank you so much for being here with us. And hopefully, we'll have you back again soon.
Sure. Thank you
Why
very
not?
much.
Absolutely.
Bye-bye.